Have you ever delivered something that followed you home? I will not name this district or the street because the locals there really hate outsiders, and the police simply ignore calls from that area as if it does not exist on the map. If your navigator suddenly changes the route and leads you into a dead end called Hallow Lane, turn around, even if the client promises a tip that exceeds your monthly salary. My name is Dan. I am 22, and I worked part-time as a courier in my old rusty sedan with headlights that barely pierced the darkness. The last order of the evening looked strange. 3 large pizzas to an address that was not on Google Maps, at the very end of an abandoned suburb. I drove past leaning wooden houses with peeling paint and rusty playgrounds where the swings creaked on their own in the wind. The street lights did not work here, and the air smelled of dampness and old rubber. At the end of the street, the road was blocked by a massive 3-story house with its windows boarded up. The house looked dead, but its massive front doors stood wide open, inviting the thick black darkness of the hallway inside. I turned off the engine, and the silence of the suburb instantly pressed against my ears, becoming almost physically tangible. I took the pizza boxes and approached the threshold, feeling a cold draft from inside tickle my face. From the depths of the house came a voice resembling the rustling of dry leaves.
"Bring it to the kitchen, boy. The money is already on the table."
I took the first step onto the creaking floor, and at that moment the heavy oak doors behind my back began to slowly close on their own with an ominous groan. When the doors slammed shut, the only source of light was my pocket flashlight, whose beam caught clouds of dust in the air and torn wallpaper on the walls. I walked down a long corridor toward the kitchen, trying not to look at the strange dark stains on the ceiling that resembled barefoot footprints. The kitchen was cluttered with old dishes covered in a thick layer of gray cobwebs, and in the middle of the room stood a massive wooden table. I placed the boxes with the hot pizza on the tabletop, but the warmth of the food instantly vanished, as if the room were draining the energy. I looked at the pile of money the elderly voice had mentioned, and my heart skipped a beat. On the table lay not banknotes, but a heap of yellowed human teeth and rusty metal buttons. Next to it was an old receipt strip, on which in red ink was written by hand, "Paid in full." Suddenly my flashlight illuminated the blank screen of an old television standing in the corner of the kitchen, and in its black reflection I saw something that was not behind my back. From the dark basement passage gaping in the corner, a tall, incredibly pale figure in a faded suit slowly emerged. It did not breathe, did not blink, and kept its hands behind its back, while its face stretched into an unnaturally wide, inhuman smile that exposed its gums. The figure began to slowly glide across the floor toward me, without lifting its feet from the ground, as if pulled by an invisible thread. The creature opened its mouth, and instead of a voice, I heard a metallic flutter that spread throughout the entire kitchen.
"You forgot the change, Dan. You forgot our change."
I recoiled from the table, knocking over a chair, and in horror realized that the client from the basement had already blocked the way to the corridor. Its eyes, like 2 glass marbles, did not leave my face, and the whisper about the change grew louder and louder, vibrating directly inside my brain. Without thinking, I grabbed a heavy metal kettle from the table and hurled it with all my strength at the kitchen window, which was only half board. The glass shattered, and I, scraping my hands and clothes, jumped outside into the damp grass of the night yard. I ran to the car as if all the hounds of hell were chasing me, hearing behind me a strange sound, rapid sliding over gravel, as if someone were dragging a heavy sack. I jumped into the driver's seat, locked the doors, and turned the key. The old engine coughed, smoked, but finally started. I sped off, pressing the gas pedal to the floor, and already at the exit from Hallow Lane, I felt a power fluid that bent the metal above my head. Something heavy and cold slammed onto the roof of the car, and I saw long white fingers without nails slowly descending down the windshield from above. I did not stop. I twisted the steering wheel, trying to shake off the passenger, and shot onto the main highway without looking at the signs until I saw the bright lights of a gas station. Under the cold glow of neon lamps, I jumped out of the car, expecting to see the monster on the roof, but it was empty, only deep dents resembling knee prints. I trembled all over, looking at my bloodied hands, and swore to myself that I would never again take a courier's bag into my hands, because I had escaped that dead end alive. I did not know that some orders cannot be canceled, even if you change your address and phone number. A week passed. I found a quiet job at a warehouse, started sleeping with the lights on, and almost stopped flinching at every creak of the floor. On Saturday evening, feeling a strange exhaustion, I decided to order pizza for myself at home from a trusted pizzeria in the city center. The courier arrived quickly, a young guy who simply left the box by the door, as I had requested in the comments, so as not to see anyone. I carried the hot, fragrant box into the kitchen, feeling real hunger for the first time in days. I sat at the table, untied the plastic bag, and opened the cardboard lid, expecting to see cheese and pepperoni, but my scream got stuck in my throat. Inside the box, instead of food, lay neat rows of yellowed human teeth and rusty metal buttons, still warm, as if they had just been taken out of the oven. I slowly turned over the box and saw the attached receipt, where in the comment field only one sentence was printed. "We are still waiting for our change, Dan." Suddenly, I heard a familiar sound from the direction of my bedroom, a light, rhythmic sliding across the parquet floor, as if someone very tall was approaching the door without lifting their feet from the ground. What should you do if a walkie-talkie in an abandoned forest starts responding with your own voice, but with a 1-second delay? Michael encountered Mimic, which doesn't just repeat sounds, but lures you out of the tower with the voice of your deceased mother. Are you sure that the person calling you from the other room is really her? Watch the story about Tower number 13 to the end.